My next guest, he's live in studio today, has recently starred in the Starz comedy series Survivor's Remorse, in which he was nominated for several NAACP Image Awards. He starred in the BET comedy series Let's Stay Together, UPN's Sister Sister, that's when we bonded many, many years ago, ABC's In the Motherhood, and had a recurring role on Fox's The Good Guys. His breakout role was opposite Denzel Washington in the award-winning feature Glory, and he starred opposite Viola Davis in Tyler Perry's Madea Goes to Jail. He's on the show today to talk about his new BET Plus, First Wives Clubs. First Wives Club is a hilarious new 9-episode comedy series that follows a group of women living in New York City who create a sisterhood as a result of their failed marriage trials and tribulations. Please welcome to Money Making Conversations. I know he's called little brother, good friend, a mentee. He's all of those things. More importantly, I told him before the show that I was reluctant to have him sit next to me because I love him so much, and I would try to get him to call in, but he showed up anyway. Please welcome to the show, RonReaco Lee.
Oh man, I'm in the studio, man. You read all them, man. You got me feeling old, man. You took it back to
I had to
Glory and. Oh my goodness, man! God's good, man. I've been in the game.
It means you're a working actor. It means you're a small business person.
That's true. This is very true.
And that's why I've been letting people know who come in, especially from an entertainment, because I didn't really understand the value of, because of social media. Mm-hmm. It makes you guys be entrepreneurs because you can sell your brand and market your brand, and you have the statement. How's the effect of social media had? Because you started before social media.
Yes, I did. Man, long before it. I was reluctant. I fought tooth and nail. I remember when I was doing Let's Stay Together.
Yes.
I was like, man, you gotta get IG and you gotta get Twitter. I'm like, man, I ain't doing nothing. I came here, I'm gonna act. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna chill with my family. Mm-hmm. And man, what ended up happening was people was opening up fake accounts, and I was laughing about it or whatever. And then this one individual started to really interact with people. I think I was at the Neighborhood Awards one year, and he was responding to, I believe it was LaToya Luckett on my behalf, and so somebody like hit me up. I think it was my man Christian Keys was like, "Hey man, you really need to do something about this because whoever this dude is seriously impersonating you." Mm-hmm. And so I opened up my first account, and it's one of them things I'm trying to get better at because it is a necessary. I don't want to call it evil, but it's definitely one of those things that you have to be on top of your game when it comes to social media.
Because especially today, because sometimes it can determine jobs.
Oh, it breaks my heart but yes, they looking at your files, they looking at your feed, and they're seeing what type of reach you have. And so if there's somebody that's got more reach than you,
that's so true, and that doesn't necessarily mean that they have the working skills,
right? No,
or the chops, but because engagement, followers mean something, potential eyeballs. It has never been proven that is the case because otherwise, a lot of these people with these amazing following bases will have platinum albums and $100 million movies, but it does say something that people do resonate with your voice, with your brand.
I agree.
And so that's something you're working on as a businessman. You're working on that.
Yes.
More importantly, I wanted to talk about something I failed miserably in was the balanced life. And you talk about that whenever we talk about having a balanced life. Talk about being able to deal with being a celebrity, a working actor, and having a balanced life.
It's tough. I got married. I got 2 kids. I got a 4-year-old, a 5-year-old. Part of why I actually because of you, I remember when we first really started working together, you kind of took me under your wing. I was amazed at the fact that you had a really nice place in L.A.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I loved it. You had 2 cars. You had your airport car, and then you had this nice truck. And you said, yeah, man, I take the airport car. I just drive out to the airport on Fridays after the show, and then I shoot back home Monday morning. I said, man, you can do that? I said, you can live in Houston and work in L.A.? He said, I'd never get. He said, RonReaco, you ain't got to give LA all your money. Yes. And it always stuck in my head. So I said when I could, I was gonna cop me a crib back in the A. I did that in 2011. And then what happened was, BET show I was doing, Let's Stay Together, is shot here, and then I literally was blessed to walk right out of that in Survivor's Remorse. Is shot here, and then a few other gigs that I had here. So my family got really used to daddy, going to work and coming home. And so now I travel a little bit more. It's been an adjustment, but listen, it's been many a days where I've gone to work on a Friday morning, realized I had, that evening off, and flew home.
Right.
Literally booked a flight,
right.
Went straight from work to the airport, flew home literally for one day. I'm back, back at the airport Sunday. So, you just kind of suck it up. You do what you got to do to get back to the family.
Right.
It's tough,
right.
but it's what you got to do. So I try to keep a balance. and been fortunate to do so.
And it's really important because of the fact that what's that shutdown time? Because if you throw 100% to the brand, which is entertainment, it can be fracturing. You know, we think we headed down this road and of longevity, and they can pull the carpet underneath.
Quick.
So that's why that balance is important.
Got to.
I was looking at your bio, and so it was talking about directing.
Yes.
Okay, and I read that, and my eyes went, okay, I got to talk to him about this because it seems to be a natural for you. Talk to me about it.
I don't, if quiet is kept, I've been wanting to direct. You mentioned it, man. The second film I did was Glory, with Denzel. Ed Zwick directed it. Matthew Broderick, Morgan Freeman, stars. It's a stellar cast.
Right.
But I can honestly say I was interested in directing back then. I remember coming back and talking to my friends. Said, man, we're gonna make a little movie. And I had concocted. I said, man, that Fisher Price. Fisher Price is still around, but Fisher Price made this little cheap camcorder. And basically, I was like, this is what we're gonna do, man. I'm gonna put you. I think it was my homeboy. I had a homeboy named Joe and a homeboy named Leon. I said, Joe, I'm gonna put you in this shopping cart, man, and we're gonna do a dolly shot. And we're just gonna roll down the sidewalk. Man, I was like 11 or 12 years old. So it's been in my blood to want to direct, man. Every show, minus Sister. It didn't really start till like BET's Let's Stay Together. I started biting at the bit, man, trying to get them to let me direct. It didn't work out. Begging on Survivors Remorse. Right. And, we're gonna let you do, fifth season. We didn't get a fifth season. So I didn't get a chance to direct there. But I was fortunate to direct a short film. Actually, one of my co-stars, Jesse Usher, and another good brother, Kellen Akeem, they formed a production company, got hold of a really, really nice short film. And I literally I said, listen, I realized that, you got to put stuff out in the universe, and when that opportunity come knocking, and I had said no to a few other things, but I said to myself, I said, God, if I'm given the opportunity to direct, I don't care what it is, I'm saying yes, sight unseen. And I did. When they called me up, I was like, yep. I ain't read the script. I was like, I'm going to do it. And it was a heavy piece. It was a dramatic piece, but it confirmed everything in me. Like directing that's what I want to do.
Now let's go back to you and our relationship.
Let's get it. Come on.
Sister.
Yep.
A young talented guy comes in.
Yeah.
Still young and talented, by the way. Let's go put that in perspective.
Well, that resume says otherwise, but I'll take the talent for it.
And we cast you as a love interest for one of the twins, Tia and Tamara.
Yeah.
And it was it was like a really big opportunity, but there were no guarantees.
No, it wasn't.
And you just was just on this huge learning curve. I just wanted to soak up so much information.
Yeah.
Tell us about that time frame and leading up to where you're at right now.
Well, but I was a fresh out of water, man. I think I had blown an audition probably a month before for Moesha.
Yeah, you told me that. Remember?
I had froze up and got all the way to producer session. For those of y'all that don't know, producer session is like the final audition, and if you've never been in one, it can be very overwhelming. That room, it can have anywhere from 10 to 15 people.
Absolutely.
Writers, directors, and a lot of times
Sarah Finney Johnson was in there.
Right in there. So it was overwhelming, and I kind of folded under pressure. So when Sister came around, I remember saying, listen, if I get this opportunity again, I'm knocking it out the park. And Rushion, he made it sound real simple, like I came in audition, I got cast. Nah, they made your boy jump through the hoops. I probably had 4 auditions before I got to read with Tia. And no, I got cast. And I think even the first day, it was an adjustment because 4-camera sitcom is a different beast. I had started off doing movies in Georgia, so all those things like they didn't compare. Like what you have to know, the beats, the energy, the timing, all of that was just new to me. And I hung around a lot. They brought Deion Richmond in probably later from the Cosby Show played Bud, and he was great.
Absolutely,
he was. We were closer in age, and I learned a lot from him. I learned a lot from him, but it took me a minute to find like what's my funny gonna be, and you helped me with that because when you're around really funny people,
that's true. You just come back to the scripts, right?
Listen, when you're around funny people, and if you watch really like talented people, like Martin, for example, if you watch that show. A lot of Martin's, Martinisms, if you will, it becomes infectious, and other people will start to kind of inhabit his way of being funny. And you see it a lot of times. And one of the things I always say to Rushion in the nicest way, he let me know that the road that I was going down to kind of find my comedy, it wasn't the right. Like, in other words, I was really just kind of emulating Dion a lot of times to kind of hit my jokes. And Rashad pulled me to the side one day. We was at craft service. He sat me down on these stairs, and I didn't know what he was gonna say. I didn't know, am I fired? Am I what's going on? And he, in the most loving, like, big brother, I'm gonna give you some constructive criticism that it might sting a little bit right now, but brother, man, on down the road, you're really gonna be appreciative. And let me tell you, it's one of the best piece of advice anyone has ever given me. And you just told me, listen, here's your position, here's his position. He can't play your position, you can't play his position.
Absolutely.
So you just define your position and play it.
And you did. And you did.
But brother, that was some like key advice in my career at a young age to just make sure I kind of forged my own path.
And you've been doing it ever since. And that's the beauty of it. What basically I was just telling them, just listen.
Yeah.
Just listen, and that's where a lot of actors fail. They come in with these pre-made up notions of, I'm going this role, I'm going to do it like this. Not listening. And one of his greatest skill set is his ability to comprehend the moment. That's one, I saw that right off. I went, if he would just listen to the scene, then he would win. And that's all I told him. Stop. Stop thinking you got to be this and allow the scene to evolve. And he just was just... That's been fantastic ever since. That's why you can share a scene with Denzel Washington, because you listen.
Well, back then I ain't had to say nothing because I was mute. But no, it was man, such a valuable lesson. And that's just one of many that you've imparted on me, man. So forever in that.
Absolutely. We're here with RonReaco Lee. When this next break, I got to do what they told me I got to do.
What you got to do?
I got to talk about First Wives
Club.
Yeah,
let's do that.
Next break, we'll be back with more RonReaco Lee. Again, I'm so proud. I'm so happy. Believe me, man, emotionally, just seeing you sit here, and I remember the times we had in my big place in L.A. We used to come by. You come by looking outside, go, you stay here? I go, yeah, that's me, man. Come on inside, but just park at the front.
Park La Brea. Like, man, that place.
It was outstanding. As this gentleman sitting next to me, we'll be back with more Money Making Conversations. Oh, this is great. You're listening to Money Making Conversation. Sitting next to me is RonReaco Lee. He's here to talk about a hilarious new 9-episode comedy series that's on BET Plus. It's about a group of women in New York City who create a sisterhood as a result of their marriage, trials, and tribulations. This is a takeoff of a 1996 movie that starred Diane Keaton. Very funny movie, by the way. Good movie. Goldie Hawn and Bette Midler. Bette Midler. Yeah. And so remakes are hard, man. And then you're doing African-American style.
Yeah, man, put another spin on it. So, yeah.
And Tracy Oliver is the EP.
Tracy Oliver wrote it. She ran the show. Yeah, man, it was cool. I remember when it hit the trades. And, you read stuff and you don't think no more about it. And then they sent me, they said, man, they want you to put yourself on tape. I put myself on tape. And then initially they was like, oh, no, it's just not going to go as well. I was like, word. And, every now and then, especially now that I'm in Atlanta, I have to put myself on tape a lot of times. Right. Some tapes you do and you're like, and then some tapes you do and you be like, all right, this what they say about this one. Because in my heart of hearts, I felt like I had delivered. Right. However, when they conceived the character, he was a lot different than me.
Absolutely.
And so, my performance required them to think outside the box a little bit. And I was very fortunate that Tracy Oliver and those guys decided, listen, we can make this work. So I got a call from my manager. They said, look, don't shave, don't work out, don't get a haircut. And I thought they had wrote another character or something because they was trying to find something for me on the show. And they said, no, they want you to play Gary. They going to rough you up a little bit. I mean, they talked about putting me in a fat suit. They talked about all kind of stuff. But it was great because they really gave the character a bit of a journey. And that was the first time that's ever happened for me. But we had a good, man. We shot in New York.
Right.
I had to get an apartment.
Absolutely.
Metro card.
That's my car.
I was
That's
commuting,
my city,
bro.
That's my city.
I felt so... Like, there's nothing like, it was a dream come true. I was there for about 3 months, and you couldn't tell me anything, man. It got to the point where I was going, okay, I'm going to start my day, I'm going to go here, I'm going to have breakfast over in Manhattan, then I'm going to shoot over here, and I'm going to get back to Brooklyn and do this.
There you go.
Man, just, and it was amazing that you could get around that city like that and never get in the car.
Well, the music amazing thing, New York is my favorite city as far as power.
Yeah.
It's just, I remember when I moved up there to do stand-up comedy, and I would come out that subway and realize I was in New York. It's so powerful, and the fact that you can, I would tell people, you can walk from your apartment nude, and by the time you get to the straight light, you're going to get some clothes, some food,
man,
you're going to get everything.
Everything you need.
Everything you need, because it's that type of city. And, and guess what? By the way, you could be nude, and nobody would even think anything of it. They ain't going to say nothing. They ain't going to say nothing. Especially if it's a certain time of the day. They're really not going to say anything. But that's New York City.
It is.
So going up there for 3 months, getting to realize that this is the Big Apple.
Yeah.
Up there. So meeting the cast. Let's talk about that.
Okay.
The cast. And you have my girl, Jill Scott.
Jill, yeah.
And then you have
Ryan Michelle Bethea, who's married to my man Sterling K. Brown. You had Michelle Buteau.
Right,
That's right. Yeah.
I love that dude, man.
Oh, man. And listen, when I say this, it's cool. However cool you think he is,
I forgot that.
raise that to like the 10th power.
Man.
Like this cat, all the accolades, he's made history. But when I tell you, one of the coolest, most humble, man, that brother right there.
I got to meet him, man.
Oh,
because everything I see him in, and he's in that special role.
Yeah.
He's in a run.
Yes.
He's in a next level
Yes,
run
he is.
and stuff like that. So that's her husband.
That's her husband. That's her husband. And we had met at the Image Awards about a year and a half before. So, and then even then he was cool, man. You know. So anyway, the one thing about doing self tapes and things of that nature, they didn't require a chemistry read. So I literally flew out to New York very nervous because listen, I tell people it was First Wives Club, and the husbands were optional. Like, you know what I mean? They could be interchanged. They could be cut. Do we really need them? No, we can. You know. So I literally, when I packed my bags, I didn't even want to tell my wife what I was doing. I literally wanted to be like, man, I'm going to run out to New York real quick for this little audition. But it was ultimately a table read, and I knew how important it was, you know, because at the end of the day, Michelle and I had to have some believable chemistry.
Right.
So I was really stressed going into that table read because I'd never met her before.
What was your character? What was the character?
So Gary is Gary's an interesting dude. I mean, he's kind of a nerdy guy.
Yeah, I saw you buttoned up
and the glasses. They
kind of stiff a little bit.
That's Gary. Gary, when we meet Gary is in the middle of just being a straight nerd. But the flip side was that he stepped outside his marriage.
Yes, he did.
And he got caught up. And when we discover him, he's really fighting to get his family back. So he's like in one of them please baby please phases.
Mode.
Yeah.
And nerdy mode.
Nerdy on top of that. And she like, you know what? So she go out and I think it's the pilot episode, she meet her somebody and so
right.
She go out and get her a little revenge night in and
fries at the bar.
Yeah, at the bar. So, you know, it's I know my wife watching. She said, okay, I didn't know you played the dog in this. And I said, yeah, you know, this is it's a different role for me. So
it's interesting that she says that because because the character doesn't look like it will go there.
No, and that's actually what I liked about it because he definitely, and I think that's what caught the Bree, who is played by Michelle Buteau. I think it caught her off guard.
Right,
it's
right.
You out here, you know me.
Safe zone. You safe zone guy.
Yeah.
Who would want him but me?
Exactly. But no, he fell short and has to make amends. But it's cool, man. The character really goes on a journey, and you kind of see over 9 episodes just in the course of them trying to repair their marriage. We see him kind of clean up a little bit. He starts to date again. Starts getting kind of a light little trim, and so over time they start letting me get a little haircut.
I saw that.
Little light line, nothing too crisp.
Right.
And so by the time we get to like that 9th episode, he's
on fire.
He's kind of he listen. You saw the nerdy look, so he had a long way. I don't know if I'm on fire. But he's, there's some smoke.
Right.
There's a little smoke, we'll just say.
Right, because I was going to talk about it, because in the beginning, it's a lot of hair on your face.
Right? It is. They wouldn't let me, I couldn't stand it, man. And I've never been one to have this, crazy. So I remember my mustache was long, man. I'm getting food. Every time I talk to somebody, I feel like I had stuff in my, constantly doing this.
Because I was looking at all the clips, I was going like, is that hair?
Yeah.
Is that like a beard?
Man, it was, I couldn't stand it, man. My kids was looking at me like, Daddy, go on, cut that. Because I was pretty much flying home every weekend.
Right.
But no, when they first let me get that first little light trim, I was like, thank you. I needed this.
Right.
But no, it was cool, man. It was nice to do something where I really had to do much hair and makeup. I just kind of get to work, put my clothes on, they put a little powder on my face.
Because it wasn't the early look wasn't very stylish.
Early Gary was easy breezy, man. The makeup artists and hairstylists love me.
Now let's talk about the other characters on the show. Jill Scott's character.
Jill Scott, yeah.
But all the women in the show have issues with their men.
They do.
Okay.
They do.
That's the basis of the show. Is it an empowering show for women?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And I love what other thing it does too, it shows how important sisterhood is for women to have each other's backs and listen and communicate. And their relationships together aren't perfect. So we kind of see over the course of 9 episodes that they have to deal with some things. Because in the beginning, there's been some distance between them. And then based on Jill Scott's character, and she kind of gets embroiled in a bit of a one of those high, what would you call them, TMZ moments.
Right.
They all kind of come to her aid. And then at which point we discover that they're all kind of in the midst of their own struggle. So it's really dope. Like it looks at 3 different relationships all in the midst of a bit of a storm.
But I like it because it was modernized.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was
Yes,
modernized.
yeah.
It was, the fact that you could have done that script like that, but
Yeah.
like when you add the TMC elements, the musical elements,
Sure.
and things like that, the lifestyle elements and stuff like that, and you guys looked to me and felt authentic.
Yeah.
Now, interesting thing about this is that it's on BET Plus.
Yes.
The streaming network.
Yes.
Now that's kind of you've been on the cable,
Yeah.
you've been on traditional
Yeah.
terrestrial TV.
Yeah.
Now you're in that streaming world, which means that a person can watch all episodes at one time.
Binge it.
Yes. How's that? What's your take on that?
Well, it's new, and the thing about it was when the show was conceived, it really wasn't. It was kind of conceived at a sister network, Paramount Network. So when we all
Absolutely.
signed on, we was
Right.
on Paramount Network, and then as we started to shoot, and BET was kind of finalizing their deal to kind of launch BET Plus, they needed original content.
Right.
So they actually, opted to kind of bring it over to BET Plus. So it was all very new to us as they were kind of lining out the details of BET Plus. We were learning on the fly. But I can honestly say I got the app probably right on the 19th, and it's a great app. And I can honestly say after going through it and checking out some of the stuff, it's really a lot of content. There'll be more content to come. They got bigger. Tyler Perry's got a show that he's doing, not on BET Plus, but I'm sure it'll be offered on there at some point. It'll
Absolutely,
come on
but they got the housewives.
They got
and
housewives.
all
I mean,
the
it's
quad
a
is
lot
on
of
there.
content.
A lot of content because
Lot of
I
content.
downloaded it.
Yeah,
I,
okay.
I'm on.
Yeah, you gonna support. I know.
And because of the fact that that's the brand,
Yeah.
it's unique. BET,
Yeah.
if they can't stream,
Yeah.
nobody can stream from an
You're right.
African American
You're right.
perspective.
You're right.
And it's also be a place where you can actually get the home of the African American voice.
Yes.
And this is a signature show
Yeah.
with original content that's being launched on BET Plus, which is letting them know that we're not just bringing you old reruns of old African American sitcoms from the 70s
Yeah.
and the 80s and the 90s.
Yeah.
That's really, really wonderful. But it's still for your brand. That's a new look.
It is. It's different. Obviously we talked about that social media game plays heavily. You know what I mean? You got to get it out there. It's we live in a digital
Everybody,
world.
what's your handles?
The word R Lee across the board, IG, Facebook, Twitter, all that. Yeah, hit me up. And I'm trying to get better. But we did a lot of press in the last couple weeks, and so I got some posts for that. And,
Okay.
and I'm gonna continue. I'm gonna continue to post. I know I got to get better.
Well,
at it.
well, you will get better. The thing about it is that I'm gonna tell you something, man. Some people, that's what they do.
Yeah.
And you one of those artists.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? From
Yeah.
the standpoint of that, you're so worried about. Which, well, I know eventually you're going to be behind the
Yes.
scene. You're going to be directing.
Come
You're going to be
on.
writing and all that because I met that guy
Yeah.
on Sister.
Yeah.
God is just giving you this path to be in front of the camera because you're a good-looking guy. You understand your
Thank you,
craft.
thank you,
But, brother, I remember in '92 when Steve Harvey asked me to come on his show as a writer as a sitcom. He said, "Man, but you're so talented as a stand-up." I said, "But I want to write. I want to produce." Because that's the path.
Yeah, man.
God can give you an option to be successful at something. That doesn't mean that's your ultimate goal. That's your path that you emotionally are driven to go there. So I know any opportunities that I see that says, "Hey man, come and direct or come and assistant direct," and you're available, I'm gonna call you because I read it now.
Yeah,
I read it.
Let
now.
me know, man. Let me know. And I, like you said, even assistant directing, shadowing.
Yes.
Man, listen, I'm just trying to soak up knowledge. I shadowed a couple years back, man. And that's the thing. I continuously put it out there. It's like I'm like I'm a fisherman. I love to fish. They'll tell you. And I don't care where I go on set. I like to let people know that I fish because that's how you meet other fishermen.
Absolutely.
So by that rationale, I like to let people know, man. I want you writing, directing, all of that. So that's how you meet people that say, "Oh, well, you trying to? Well, come on over. Let me talk to you." Sally Richardson,
That's my
Sally,
girl.
man,
Yeah,
she
Sally Richardson.
came and directed the episode. I'm all in her ear because here's an actress.
Dude, she's on fire.
Listen, I saw Dondre last week. I said, where's Sally now?
Dude,
Like, where's
she's on
she
fire.
at this week?
From sci-fi, sitcom, dramas.
And the thing about it was, Survivor's Remorse was maybe, I would just venture to say, her third or fourth episode directing. And so she was still kind of getting her feet wet. However, a pro.
Yes.
And then from that, man, we started following each other on IG. And before I knew it, every time I turn around, she's prepping. She's getting shot lists together. She's
Yes, she
on
is.
set. She's
Yes, she
doing
is.
this. She's
Yes,
doing
she
that.
is.
And I
Yes.
mean, just to watch her do her thing.
That's you, my brother.
Man, listen.
We're talking to RonReaco Lee. Check out his new series, my man, on BET Plus, First Wives Club. RonReaco, thank you for
Brother.
coming into my world
Come
again.
on, man.
Supporting me on Money Making Conversations.
Got to.
I love you, brother.
Man,
I
love
say
you
that.
too, man.
I really say that because, wow, this is a hard interview for me to do personally because it's like watching a family member that that I so cared about.
Yeah, man.
And then had to walk away and let you do your thing
Yeah.
and to come in the office, come in this space and say, hey, man, I love you. And you say, you love me back.
too, bro.
Let's
It's a
keep
pleasure
moving.
being here. Anytime, man. You ain't got to do nothing. Just call me.